Hi everyone and welcome to Crypto Mastery. This channel is going to be all about helping you as a community master crypto. I'll be going on that journey myself along with you, and we'll be talking about everything to do with crypto. So how do you get into building your own portfolio in crypto? How do you start to store your assets? What type of crypto assets can you go after? How do you get a chunk of the metaverse? What's the latest news and the things that's grabbing people's attention in the crypto space? How do you store your crypto to keep it safe? And how do you get that all-important piece of the metaverse as it starts to grow? And finally, how do you get into those early opportunities, those IDOs, those startups that we see so many other people getting in on and getting those 100 and 1000x gains? So today, for this first video, what I want to do is take a look at MetaVPad. So let's go and take a look at what is MetaVPad. So if we look on their site right now, we can see that they're explaining MetaVPad as the building the metaverse one block at a time. So MetaVPad is essentially a launch pad specifically focused on metaverse projects. Now, the reason this is so exciting and this has really got huge potential to jump up to that 100, that 1000x gain is, first of all, because it's a launch pad. And if you've seen any of the other launch pads that have been launched and the exponential kind of increase in value that people have seen, you'll know there's huge potential there already. If you couple that with the fact that this is solely focused on what is one of the hottest topics in crypto right now, the metaverse, this thing can just blow up. This thing can go huge. I mean, just to walk through an example, right? If we go to, let's take a quick look at TRONPAD, right? And let's go back and say, let's look at the PulsePad launch as an example, right? So the PulsePad launch basically had a swap rate of 1 USDT to 1,000 PulsePad tokens. So you invest $1, 1 USDT token, and you actually get 1,000 of the PulsePad kind of tokens back. Now, if we look at that and we actually say to ourselves, let's pull up a quick calculator. Let's say that conservatively you put 100 USDT into it. Let's see your allocation's 100. So you got 100,000 basically PulsePad tokens off the back of it, just from $100. Now, if we go across and we look at the actual price of PulsePad currently, it's $0.21 in price. Now let's just go back and pull up how much 100,000 coins would be in real world money to you right now. So let's times this by 0.211. You'd have $21,100. So from a $100 investment, you'd now be sitting on £21,000 or dollars, sorry, worth of investment. Now that's just huge, right? That's huge potential, huge growth. So I really do think that MetaVPad is basically an IDO you want to get in on right now. You know, they've got some key tenets of the metaverse, so they're focusing on, decentralized governance, non-fungible kind of assets, digital identity, augmented reality, and interoperability solutions. They haven't yet released what their tiered system is going to look like. So if you know anything about any of these launch pads, basically each launch pad will have a tiering system. So you need to purchase a number of their tokens in order to reach a certain tier once they're staked. Now, usually they exponentially go up, and based on how many tokens you've got and how many you're staking, you will be ranked in one of these tiers, and each of these tiers will then have a corresponding pool weight. So for instance, the Explorer in this instance, although it hasn't got the details right now, could have a pool weight of, let's say, 10. Creator might jump up to 25, then this could be 35. I really don't know what the setup's going to be for this tiered system, but if it works anything like a lot of the other launch pads, you're probably going to be seeing something similar to what we see elsewhere. So what we could do is, first of all, let's talk about how do you get your hands on MetaVPad, because some of these things aren't really that simple and that easy. So I think a lot of it in the crypto space now is, you need money to kind of be guaranteed to make money. So the way to actually get in on MetaVPad is to purchase or to get in on the IDO on another launch pad, right? And MetaVPad will be launching on a number of different launch pads. And check the description down below because I'll list all of the launch pads that it'll actually be available on. Two of the strongest ones I think that really you probably want to look at based on how much kind of investment you'd need to put in to get into MetaVPad is TRONPAD and NFTLAUNCH. So what we'll do is we'll jump over to TRONPAD and NFTLAUNCH and take a quick look at what you'd need to do in order to get an allocation for MetaVPad. So if we jump over to TRONPAD, we can see that one of the projects up and coming currently is MetaVPad. There's a TBA there, so we don't actually know when it's going to come out. We also don't know what the overall cap will be for this project. So, we know it's coming, but we really don't know the final level details at this point. If we're to take a look at TRONPAD itself, we can actually say, let's go down and take a quick look at their tiered system, right? So this is their kind of tiered system, and they split it between... And this is all for the same for a lot of other launch pads. So they split it between a lottery tier and a guaranteed allocation tier. Now, obviously, we all want to be in the guaranteed allocation tier. Of course we do. We want to be guaranteed that when we put something against a project, we're actually going to be guaranteed to get an allocation at the end of it. Unfortunately, not everyone can afford to do that because if you look at this, if we look at the lottery tier, which is classified as Earth on TRONPAD, you would need 15,000 TRONPAD tokens in order to be eligible to get one lottery ticket, right? One lottery ticket. However, if you're then looking to get a guaranteed allocation tier, the lowest, like the minimal kind of guaranteed allocation tier here is 50,000. So you'd need to have 50,000 TRONPAD tokens. So let's go and take a quick look at what that might actually look like, right? So we pull up this and we say that actually, from a normal lottery perspective, it'd be 15,000. Let's go and have a look at how much the TRONPAD tokens are currently. So let's say 0.14. So 15,000 times 0.14. You're looking at around £2,100. So it's not bad, right? It's not like that could be a lot of money for you. That could be a very little amount of money for you. It all depends. What I would say is that just remember that when you actually invest that, you're not guaranteed to get an allocation at this point. So actually, what will happen is you get one lottery ticket, and depending on the size of the actual lottery, how many people are involved, you could have a big chance or you could have a small chance, right? Also, I'll just touch on this point before we continue on. I'm not a financial advisor. I can't tell you where and when to invest your money. This is just all based off my opinion and my experience in the crypto space. So if we're saying that just to get a lottery ticket, it's going to end up being 2,100. What about if we want a guaranteed allocation on TRONPAD? So to get a guaranteed allocation on TRONPAD, we said we needed 50,000 tokens. So 50,000, then we'll times it by the current price. 114 7,000. So again, in order to get a guaranteed allocation, you'd need to have $7,000 ready to invest in these tokens and then to stake against the platform. There's a number of different ways you can actually get these tokens. So probably the best way is to go onto something kind of like Uniswap or PancakeSwap and actually swap these tokens across. And then, you might have to bridge them and actually turn them into the correct token for staking. I can always do a separate video on how to actually get the TRONPAD tokens, how to get them into your wallet, and then how to stake them. Once you've done that and you've staked them, you'll need to stake them before this goes live, right? So you need to actually stake your coins before the auctions or the IDOs actually go live. Otherwise, you won't be eligible, right? And it clearly says here, 3 hours before allocation round opens, you are actually required to stake the amount that would get you into one of these tiers. What I'll just say is, as well, is we're in a bit of a bear market right now, right? So I'm sure you've all seen that the crypto prices have dropped quite heavily. We've seen big dips today. We're probably heading into that bear market longer term, and this carries significant risk, or it can carry significant risk, right? So we can just take a quick look at the charts today to see actually what's going on here, right? So if we take a look at this chart, we can clearly see had you bought, some of this crypto on like the 2nd of December, you would have maybe bought in at like maybe 0.16, and then you could be down quite heavily right now, right? You could be down by at least 14% on your original investment. So actually, I would say that to get in on MetaVPad and to get into TRONPAD now, for me personally, seems like a good point to kind of get in and to get these tokens, because the price has dipped to a point where actually I'd probably be getting more for my money than I would have been a couple of days ago. So that's probably what my strategy is going to be here, to make sure that I can secure myself into the MetaVPad IDO. What we'll also do is look at another platform, right? So you've got TRONPAD, which is slightly more expensive, but you've also got NFTLAUNCH as well, who will also be launching this IDO. So if we look at NFTLAUNCH, we can quickly see, again, this is another launch pad. We can go down, we can see kind of a little bit around their kind of, tokenomics, how they're set up. And then again, we can go to look into their launch tiers. I mean, the interesting piece around this is the fact that, they don't really seem to have a lottery tier in here from what I can see. So it seems to be just the guaranteed tiers really. So for NFT, you got starter, you got pro, and you got advanced. And for each of those different levels, you will then have a different pool weight associated to them. So let's go and see just what we have to invest in order to get into the guaranteed allocation for this one. So you need 20,000 NFTLAUNCH tokens in order to do it. So we hop back to the CoinGecko. Let's take a look at NFTLAUNCH. At the moment it's 0.24. We need 20,000. Let's get our calculator back up. So we've got 20,000. We're going to times that by 0.24. Again, that's $4,800. So actually, when you look at this balanced against TRONPAD, you can see this is basically $2,200 cheaper to get into to actually get into this IDO launch on an NFT launch. So actually, if you've got less money to invest and you want to kind of get in on this IDO, this could be a good option for you. When some people look at this, they might say, yes, let's go straight in, it's cheaper on NFTLAUNCH. Why wouldn't I jump into that one? Well, for me, I mean, I'm already a part of, other launch pads like TrustPad and so on. It's not just the specific launch that kind of would attract my attention to it. I'm interested in more kind of long-term future launches as well. I mean, if we take a look at this, and then let's just go and look at their IDOs, right? So the things that they've actually released in the past. Let's take a quick look. So we've got current projects here, right? So MetaVPad, this is the one that's going to come up soon. I mean, the only one they've got in the past is Valhalla, right? And, big on Valhalla. Valhalla's like huge, so much potential. But there's nothing else, right? I mean, NFTLAUNCH is fairly new, so presumably there's going to be more coming up in the future. It's not as well founded and as established as TRONPAD. So TRONPAD is more trusted, well founded. So I guess when you put your money there, you're paying for that little bit of extra security as well. I mean, if we look at TRONPAD, we can certainly go back and look at the other things that have, they've gone through TRONPAD in the past that we could see potential to go through in the future. And actually, the first thing I look at this here is I can see just how many, the launch pads have gone through. We've got VeloSPAD, PulsePad, ADAPAD, NFTLAUNCH itself. They've actually come through this as a launch pad. It's got a lot of history around a lot of projects that it's actually launched. And that attracts me to this as well, because that says that actually probably when a project's coming to set up and to kind of, to land on a launch pad, there's going to be a few different dynamics they're looking at. And one of those will be a well-established, strong community-backed kind of launch pad like TRONPAD. So, for me, I might sway more towards TRONPAD just on that basis. I could also look to say, do I want to jump in and get the guaranteed allocation on both? And I could possibly do that. And then I'd double up on my actual, MetaVPAD kind of tokens at the IDO launch. And that's something that I would consider, but then I'd probably want to pull out of, if I did it on TRONPAD and Launchpad, I'd probably want to pull my tokens from Launchpad shortly after to reinvest somewhere else. So depending on the, how long they actually lock the tokens for, because again, when you stake your tokens, different launch pads will lock those tokens for certain periods. So if we look at this one, for instance, for NFT launch, we can say, there's early unstaking fees. So unstaking your launchpad tokens could come at a fee with a maximum burn fee of 20% of your tokens, right? So 20% of your tokens could get burned if you wanted to pull out early. And the minimum wait period for unstaking generally is 21 days with no fee. Now, I'm not too sure I really want to wait 21 days after I've invested, but, I will look at this and consider it. So, yeah, finally, I mean, what I would say is let's look at who backs this MetaVPAD, right? It's backed by Bluezilla. Like, pretty much most things that Bluezilla touch just go through the roof, just skyrocket. I mean, it's got a very good backing in Bluezilla. You look at all the other launch pads that have launched and then seen exponential growth, you'll typically find Bluezilla behind them, right? So it's a very strong indicator that this launch pad has got some strong legs behind it. I guess finally, all I would say is, be careful how you invest, right? All of these investments come at risk. Be sure that you're comfortable that you can take that risk and you're not overstretching yourself or your capacity or your funds. I'm not a financial advisor, but I really do believe for MetaVPAD, looking at the previous history of launch pads, looking at how popular the metaverse piece is, this will 100x. This will potentially hit 1000x, right? And even if, for instance, your investment and your allocation is only $50, only $100, we've already seen from looking at PulsePad just the level of return that can mean to you, right? If you can turn $100 into $21,000 or $40,000, that's insane, right? That sets you up for the next IDOs, and you keep building on top of that. So thanks for watching the video. There's going to be more videos like this in the future. I'll be focusing on, bringing you the hot IDOs to get in on early. How do you get into those IDOs? Which launch pads are they going to be launched on? As well as looking at the other crypto opportunities, right? How do you earn passive income? How do you, stake your current crypto that you've got in order to make greater returns, or stake them to get coins from other new launch pads? There's going to be so much we're going to share as a community. I want people to get involved. I want to build this community together and build that kind of mastery of crypto and wealth together moving forward. So again, hit the like, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you can be notified when any of the new videos come out, and have a great weekend.